The Accountant 2, starring Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal, was one of the rare movies where the sequel is better than the first one. The first movie is a bit more serious. This one has a much more action comedy, lighthearted tone, while still touching on some relatively interesting and serious topics. This sequel follows the original 9 years later, and it's a very simple story again, where Christian Wolf, played by Ben Affleck, wants to save somebody, and that's his mission. He's autistic, and his dad didn't want his autism to be an issue, so his philosophy was to kind of beat it out of him, let him train to fight, let him train to function in society. And because he's autistic, he also became a crazy genius savant accountant. Jon Bernthal plays his brother Brax, or Braxton, who's also got his own issues. He does a sort of hitman work, or he's a kind of mercenary of some kind. It's never exactly explained what he is, but he gets paid to kill people, threaten them, whatever the case may be. You can watch this movie without seeing the first one, and you really won't miss too much. If you didn't see the first one, you're really getting Christian Wolf's backstory and how he became this super accountant and kind of mercenary on the side. Because he's autistic, he has an issue with things being incomplete. So you can see he's collecting artwork and different pieces from a room that's special to him in his childhood. And that's why he does what he does. In the first one, he wants to save Anna Kendrick, who's also an accountant, and she's innocent, and the villains are trying to kill her. In this one, there's someone he's trying to find, and he's trying to find an innocent boy. Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal's comedic timing is great. They have super good on-screen chemistry. They really do feel just like siblings. There's so many petty little moments that are hilarious, and the dynamic between the two just works. If you like dry humor or the character Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy, because Ben Affleck is autistic, he has a very similar personality to that, where he's this very literal, very dry type of humor. If you've seen Daredevil or The Punisher or Wolf of Wall Street or The Walking Dead, you've seen Jon Bernthal. He always puts in a good performance, and his comedic timing is really good. There are so many moments between the two. They're just on each other's nerves, but they're still brothers, and you can really feel the love. They do a really great job of capturing that energy. It's really nice to not see another one of these, oh, we have one sibling who's crazy popular and one who's emo and they don't talk and they reconcile by the end. This one is just two frustrated brothers with a kind of complicated relationship that very obviously care about each other. The action is fun. You definitely get some plot armor type things. This is not masterclass cinema. The action is not quite John Wick or The Raid, where you're getting these super long oneers, but you do get relatively long cuts. It's very coherent, and you're not getting a bajillion cuts like you might in some things. Daredevil Born Again. So overall, it's just kind of a throwback to when movies were fun. It almost reminds me of Rush Hour, except instead of Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan, you're getting Ben Affleck as kind of like a retard version of Bullseye and Jon Bernthal as the Punisher Light. I also want to talk about some of the broader kind of messages of the movie. Some are really wholesome and nice, and some I'm not quite sure what to make of. There's some really good moments between Brax and Christian, where Brax is just frustrated that he's always had the weird brother, and he obviously loves him, but you can tell there's a bit of frustration there, or kind of maybe built up resentment. And there's a couple conversations like this. They never get too heavy, but he kind of vents his frustration that he always had to protect his brother, and because his brother's autistic, he never really seemed appreciative or was appreciative, or didn't feel the appreciation for his brother standing up for him that you would kind of want from your sibling. And the whole thing just felt really authentic and really real. And I have my own sister. Asshole she is, special needs she is not. So I can't quite relate to this to the degree that is shown in the movie, but I definitely get the frustration of someone who values their family a lot having to watch someone they care about make decisions that they wouldn't make, or they don't like, or that are just dumb, whatever the case may be. But he still puts the effort in. He obviously still loves his brother. He just wants it reciprocated. And the other side, Christian is frustrated at his brother because he's like just not understanding. He's like, well, you had my phone number. Like, you could have reached out to me. And he's not really getting the point. So he's kind of frustrated in a different way. It never gets too serious or emotional, but you definitely get the point that they're making. And obviously the message is still that they love each other despite the disconnect, or just the parts that don't feel quite relatable to one another. And because Christian is a vigilante, something else that gets touched on, less so in this one than the first one, is their relationship with the legal authorities. Mary Beth Medina replaces J.K. Simmons' role from the first one, and he's kind of the contact through the government that Christian gives tips to help them make arrest, but then they're also dealing with a criminal, vigilante, hitman, whatever you want to call him, who is doing nefarious things, who is participating in illegal activities. And there's a bit of a question there of how much of working with them is for yourself and your career, and how much is for justice that you can't get by other means. This goes a lot more in depth than the first one, where Raymond King, played by J.K. Simmons, and Mary Beth Medina talk about this, and she questions him, and he stands by his beliefs. And it's interesting, but in this one, it's much less so. It's definitely played for more comedy, but it's always an interesting topic of discussion. And obviously, the execution of it is really important to how you view it in the movie. A couple of the things that I'm not quite sure what to make of as far as the movie goes is the portrayal of autism in general. And you've kind of seen this push in some movies where autism is like a superpower. This is kind of one of those movies, because like I said before, Ben Affleck plays essentially like a retard bullseye, where his autism allowed him to hyper focus to train his body, his mind, his fighting, his shooting, so then he's super lethal. Maybe autistic John Wick would be more appropriate. And there's other movies like The Predator that portray this, where the predators are hunting the kids with autism as the next step in evolution. If you've played Mass Effect, one of the most heartbreaking levels and events in Mass Effect is the Overlord DLC in Mass Effect 2. And in this case, the autistic brother is able to do crazy calculations and communicate with the Geth, who are super sentient AI alien robots. And his brother tries to exploit this to forge connections between the two species, or whatever you want to call them. Really great series, and particularly great level. If you haven't played it, definitely recommend. I just wanted to bring that up because I don't know if there's like this push to make autism a superpower. And in the first movie, there's a place where they were considering keeping Christian to let him be sort of sheltered from the real world. And his dad is like, no, the real world is not protected. It's not going to be sympathetic to his situation. He needs to get used to it. And in this movie, it's been 8 years, and they work with the autistic kids at that place. And it kind of looks like Xavier's Gifted Institute for Youngsters, or whatever the school is in the X-Men, where the mutants go there to work on their abilities and train. And that's how they kind of treat it in this one. And it's a place for people who can't function in society due to their condition as kind of a safe place or retreat, or whatever you want to call it. But then at the same time, quite a bit of the humor comes at the expense of Christian's autism, if you want to view it that way, where his social disconnect, his taking everything literally, is the joke. So I'm not exactly sure what they're trying to get across there, because on one hand, they have the obvious Brax loves his brother, he wouldn't treat him any other way type thing. But on the other, you have them being like essentially mutants who are the next step in humanity. So you can make of that what you will, I guess. For the people who are concerned with the meta, I wouldn't call anything about this movie particularly political or woke or whatever fucking word you want to use. It's just a fun, good movie. And one of the funniest parts of the movie to me was at the very beginning, Christian Wolf is in a speed dating event, and he rigged his profile to match what works in the algorithm. So when he goes to this speed dating event, he's matched with like everyone because he viewed it as like a mathematical problem, essentially. It's a really funny scene, and it's really funny to see all these women that are interested in him get really turned off as soon as he starts talking. But one of the women says that she's interested in having kids, and he goes, "You're 44?" And she goes, 45. And he goes, "Well, anything's possible, I guess." Just super fucking deadpan, really straight-faced. The way that Ben Affleck plays him is really funny. In the first one, he's much more straight-laced, and this one he sort of leans into almost like the guy from Office Space, Milton, who wants his stapler back. But it works so well for the comedy, and the speed dating event to start the movie is really funny. But overall, definitely recommend it. Best in-theater experience I've had in a while, sadly. And I'm going to leave it there for this one. If you've seen the movies, let me know what you think. I try to respond to the comments that aren't just insults. Like and subscribe and all that shit. Thanks. See ya.